All right. We return. You know, we are in massive trouble as a nation. And I suspect that the vast majority of America either doesn't seem to know, doesn't care, or doesn't want to know. I'm not quite sure why everyone is so willing to hide their head in the sand. I gotta ask you something. If you think about, just picture this. Picture this for a moment. A human being on their knees with their head buried in the sand. What's left sticking up in the air? I'll let you draw your own mental picture. The truth of the matter is, while you think you're being safe by hiding your head in the sand, you are exposing the rest of your body, including some of your most vulnerable parts, to the abuse of those people that you are hiding from, who you think can't see you because you can't see them. On Thursday, this kid named Eric, he's a senior, he's attending Gonzaga University. He's in Spokane, Washington. Spokane is a very, very liberal city. They've got prohibitions on all kinds of things. He's living in a university apartment. It's owned by the university itself. He thought it was a friend coming by when he heard a knock on his door. So he opens up the door, and there's this guy named John Taylor, who he doesn't know. Now, the guy has been convicted of 6 separate felonies. And he says to this kid, Eric, he says, "I just been released from prison." He's wearing an ankle bracelet, and he shows it to the kid to prove to him that he was just released from prison. And he demands cash. So Eric says, Taylor starts coming more in the doorway. And I yelled to my roommate, Dan, this was going somewhere that I didn't want it to go. I was starting to be afraid and fearful. And when he starts threatening me and trying to come in the doorway, that's when I call for my roommate, Dan. Dan is licensed to carry concealed. He's got a concealed carry weapons license. He walks out, sees what's going on, draws his pistol. Taylor takes one look, the criminal takes one look at the pistol, and takes off. Dan, the roommate with the pistol, says, "I feel like I restrained myself from using the force in a correct manner. I used enough force to persuade Taylor, the criminal, to leave." So they call the Spokane Police Department to report it, obviously, right? And they also call campus security, which is what most people would do. The cops came, and after they, evaluated the situation and learned all the details, they made a determination that the 2 boys, including Dan, the guy with the pistol, had acted within his rights, and they left. I mean, it was self-defense, right? No, not so fast. The campus security decided they're going to continue their investigation. At 2 o'clock in the morning, later on that same day, they return. They opened the door to the apartment using a master key. They went in and they searched the place. They confiscated Dan's pistol and a shotgun that they found while they were in there searching. Now, their policy is that students are not allowed to possess handguns on campus or in any university-owned properties. On Sunday, this is on Thursday now, right? So on Sunday, 2 days ago, they were notified by the university that, quote, they had been placed on permanent probation for the rest of their time at GU. The campus security says, and the university itself is saying that they violated GU policy. And that's why they took the pistol and took the shotgun, violated their Fourth Amendment rights against unlawful search and seizure. I mean, they didn't expel them and they didn't suspend them, but they've placed them on probation for the remainder of their term at the school. Now, they're both seniors, so thank goodness that'll be a relatively short window. But, you see, here they were doing nothing more than defending themselves. Now, look, ladies and gentlemen, you are constantly pummeled by the media, by the Ministry of Propaganda, by the law enforcement agencies in the country, by social groups, social pressures. Never fight back. Always do what you're told. Be non-confrontational. Never get involved in a fracas. Never be involved in a physical altercation. And the truth of the matter is, the United States of America has turned into this milquetoast nation. There are no men left. You're not allowed to be a man anymore. Society now wants you to be some kind of an androgynous animal that has no courage, no spine, no backbone. You meekly walk around with your head down, shuffling your feet. You do exactly as you're told, without question. If you're a woman, you have no right to self-defense. You must lay there and do exactly nothing while you are being violated, abused, raped, beaten, whatever. You're not entitled to defend yourself. That is the message that every American is getting. And you're being bombarded by it 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It's being hammered home to your children in school. It's being hammered home to you in every sitcom you watch, in every television program you watch, in every news article you read, in every newscast that you watch on television. It's in every newspaper, every magazine, every article, everywhere you go. You are constantly bombarded with the message, be mild, be meek, be compliant. Do not think for yourself. Do as you're told, even when it is at your own cost and expense. So let me ask you a question. And I'm going to preface this question with a quote from Thomas Paine. Here's what he said. He who dares not offend cannot be honest. He who dares to not offend cannot be honest. So let me ask you a question. Are you entitled to self-defense? Are you entitled to defend yourself and your family when there is a crisis? Well, let's clarify something. And I don't care what the social media says, because I don't care whether you're offended or not. I don't care what your teachers told you in school. I don't even care what your parents told you when they said, don't fight back against the bully, just give him the lunch money. I don't care what the cops tell you. I don't care that the president says, don't defend yourself. This is a right that is inherent by the Creator and nature in every human being. And anyone who tells you differently is committing an act of self-treason and treason upon you. And your failure to recognize your need, your right, your ability to defend yourself is self-imposed treason. And the only person who will be injured by that treason is you. Self-treason is a betrayal of your own values and your own virtue, and the value of your own life when you sit there and say, regardless of what happens, I'm going to be compliant to this person I know has my demise within their actions. That's what they're here for. They're here to take my money. They're here to rape me, rob me, beat me, steal from me, whatever it may be. You have the inherent right of self-defense. It was given to you by your Creator. It's embedded in every one of us. From the days of the earliest man to today, to that child born 13 seconds ago, the right of self-defense is inherent in you. And I don't care what the rules say, because we've heard many, many times from our own drafters, founders, whatever you want to call them, and from minds much greater than mine, that every human being has the right to self-defense. And that laws made that are against the natural law of self-defense are null and void on their face. Laws made that violate the laws of the Creator and the laws of natural law, the rules of natural law, are not law at all. They are tyranny, nothing more and nothing less. And if you are willing to commit self-treason by betraying your own value, including the value of your life, because it's been so ingrained into you not to be aggressive. Hey, listen, somebody's got a weapon and is coming through your door. It's time to get aggressive, doggone it. And stop laying down. It is self-treason. Many of us commit this every day. It's not just limited, by the way, to failing and refusing to defend yourself. It's also committed by those people who, sit there and suck on a methamphetamine pipe or stick a needle of heroin or meth into their arm. It's also committed by those people who willfully, knowingly, recognizing that they have an alcohol problem but refusing to admit it and are living in a state of denial, go out there and drink. It's committed by people who take dangerous situations every day and continue to engage in self-destructive behavior. You see, the truth of the matter is, we are all guilty of some level of self-treason. Every one of us has been guilty of it at some point in our lives. Where we have to draw the line is the endangerment of your life. I mean, for a while there, I saw a video that was a group of these people, and I believe it was Pakistan, but it might have been Syria. I don't remember. But I've seen a number of these. There's a few of them out there on the web. And it was on Facebook, until it was pulled. And basically it was about 12 guys strung together who were all chained together or handcuffed together. And so, the left hand was handcuffed to the guy next to his left, and the right hand was handcuffed to the guy to his right. And they were all standing there in a line, about 12 of them. And these alleged rebels, or whatever they want to call themselves, it's so confusing as to who's who anymore over there. But anyway, they were sitting there and saying that these people were going to be put to death. And they told them to kneel down, and all 12 of them compliantly knelt down. Strung in a row, 30 feet long, 12 of them. And these people walked up, one at a time, and they, a couple of them were actually tentative about it. You could see it in the video. They walked up and kind of shakily put the pistol up and pow, hit this guy in the back of the head, and he collapses. And the guy next to him is chained to him, so he kind of gets pulled forward. They're all wearing blindfolds. And then another guy walks up, and he's got an AK-47, and bap, bap. They walked down the entire line. It took them minutes. And they all sat there like compliant sheep on their knees. 12, 13, whatever the number was. They sat there like compliant sheep waiting for their end. They knew it was coming. They could hear the gunshots from the guy 3 people down. They could hear them talking. I can tell you, I recognize that they were probably terrified. The fear must have been incredible. I mean, imagine yourself in that position. But you recognize that seconds from now, you're going to die anyway. And I can tell you that chained to one of these other guys or not, or the last guy in line, and there's nobody chained to my right or my left, I'm going to do one of two things. I'm either going to try to get a hold of the guy behind me who's holding the weapon, or I'm going to try to run. And I don't care if I got to try to drag 13 with me. I'm telling you, I'm not going down on my knees. Because my Creator has given me the right to defend myself. And you have it too. And I don't care how many people tell you it's not your right to defend yourself. I don't care how many people tell you you don't have a right to own a gun, you shouldn't own a weapon, you shouldn't carry a pocket knife, you should stand down when you are held at gunpoint so somebody can steal your wallet or beat your wife or rape your wife or beat one of your kids or beat you. If you want to engage in that kind of self-treason, you go right ahead. It may be a fruitless effort. It may be 100% futile to try to save yourself. But it's just as futile to sit there and say, maybe out of the 12, they'll change their mind when they get to me. How ridiculous. Some of you are out there saying, this guy's crazy. I'd just pray and have my final peace with God knowing that it was coming. Okay, great. I would probably do that too. But I do that while I'm running. Treason to yourself is the worst form of treason. Because you've got nobody to blame but you. Joe Biden tells us, go buy a shotgun. Take it out on a back porch and fire 2 blasts in the air. Well, take them up on that suggestion, why don't you? Better yet, have it handy so that if it's necessary, you can use it. Because not for nothing, but I'd rather be judged by 12 than carried by 6. And the truth of the matter is, that right of self-defense is not something that man can overlay with a law. This is a universal axiom. Every living being, whether it's a mouse or a wolf or a lion or a human, is given the capability, the wherewithal, and the free permission from your Creator and the rules of natural law to defend yourself and hang the consequences. Do you think the lion lays down when the 5 hyenas come and encircle him? And he says, well, I'm outnumbered. I'll just lay here and I'll wait until they bite my throat out. Go right ahead. Here, let me help you. No. He fights until the bitter end. And either he wins or he loses. But some of them hyenas ain't going home tonight. Have you ever heard the phrase, never corner or trap an animal? Because the meekest animal, the mildest animal in the world, when cornered, will defend itself with teeth, with claws, because it is an inherent, natural right. And they understand it like you never can. They're not subjected to the constant mind control and a bombardment of self-treasonous propaganda pummeled into their brain 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Be compliant. Be a good sheep. Don't raise your head. Don't defend yourself. Sit here and take it. So I encourage you to be more like the lion and less like the compliant sheep. Even a sheep will attempt to defend itself. It may not have much to work with, doesn't have claws, doesn't have sharp teeth, but it will use the dull, blunt ones it has. America, you are being manipulated. You're being played. You're being played by people with training, unlimited resources to train and educate themselves, decades worth of research into the human psyche, and the knowledge and the skill set to use your mind, the brilliance of that sentience that God has given you, against yourself. That level of treason is around you everywhere, and it's not just down to self-defense. You are treasonous to yourself and to your family when you put your head in the dirt and you leave your butt sticking up into the air. You are treasonous to yourself when you refuse to see the danger that is lurking around you everywhere. President Obama recently, and quite famously, told a group of students, don't be afraid that there's tyranny around every corner. Really? Well, let me tell you something. Our founders told us that there was tyranny around every corner. And they were also wise enough to recognize that the people who told us there wasn't going to be tyranny were the very same people we should watch out for the most. Don't be afraid to go outside the box of that which you have been, that has been embedded in your mind so that you believe it's actually your own opinion. Be willing to challenge your own beliefs, your own thoughts, your own ideology, all that you've ever believed in. You know, one of the greatest failings of humanity is that we never want to admit that we're wrong. But I have to tell you, the majority of America is wrong. They're wrong not because They choose to be wrong. They're wrong because they choose to be enlightened to the point where they can see the light. Thomas Jefferson said, "Enlighten the people generally, and tyranny and oppressions of body and mind will vanish like spirits at the dawn of day." Enlighten the people, and tyranny and oppression of body and mind will vanish like spirits at the dawn of day. The question is, will you stand up and defend yourself? Not only against the guy with the GPS bracelet and the and the knife, but will you stand up and defend yourself against all of the other tyrannies that are being poured upon you every day? The draining of your wealth, the theft of your resources, the theft of the benefits of your labor, the domination of your spirit, the domination of your mind, the giant sucking sound as life's energy is sucked and drawn from you by people who want to put you into a state of subservience. Acquiescing to that is just another form of self-treason. It's just got a slower fuse. When we come back, we're going to talk about how that treason is empowering and strengthening your enemy. We're going to talk about the new status of America as the police state, with the DHS becoming the new KGB, the new Stasi, the new SS. Some of you say, "Oh my gosh, he's going to go that far." Listen, you can believe what you want to believe. But I can tell you this, if you're not willing to enlighten your mind, then tyranny and the oppressions of body and mind will not vanish like spirits at the dawn of day. You may not like to look at it from that perspective, but to refuse to do so is self-treason. If you're unwilling to look, if you're unwilling to learn, if you're unwilling to look at it and say, maybe my perception of this has not been right. Maybe I need to move a little to this direction or a little to that direction, or look at it from a higher perspective or a lower perspective so that I understand that this is a three-dimensional issue. If you're unwilling to do that, then you're guilty of self-treason. And you're allowing the tyrants around you to win. We'll be right back. You're listening to America's Voice Now. You can find us on the web by visiting americasvoicenow.org. You can find us on our Facebook page at facebook.com/America's Voice Now. And then you can also find every program that we do up on YouTube at youtube.com/America's Voice Now. If you want to download a audio podcast of this into a phone or a computer or whatever, you can do that. You can also listen to it. You can go to Spreaker.com. That's SP, like speaker, but with an R. Spreaker.com. SPREAKER.com/America's Voice Now. They also have a phone application you can download on your phone. Go to Google Play or iTunes, download it, and then search for Michael Evans, America's Voice Now. Then you can download them all and listen to them live on your phone. We'll be back in just a moment.